Hi, Alyssa. Hold on, I gotta get you in the right place.
Okay.
What do I need to do?
I don't know, you did it last time. You did it. Okay, I'll work on it. I'm just gonna turn mine off and on and then we'll figure
I
it out.
think that that's it. Like it times out, kind of. So let's see if I do this. Choose content. Here we go. Entire screen, start mirroring. Let's see if this works.
It'll come back on.
Okay. Thanks for jumping on a little bit early. We're going to do my exercise when Alyssa's done. So I am so excited for you guys to meet Alyssa. This is Alyssa Stalker. Alyssa Stalker is an agent at Epic, and she is amazing. She's also writes content now for Inman, and she is a branding fool. And so I had the pleasure of being at her event in LA a few, maybe like a month or two ago. I don't even know how long ago it was, but it was great. It was worth the drive, worth well, I flew first and then I drove.
You had a long journey.
All right. So anyway, I'll let you go ahead. You should be able to share your screen and let me make sure that I got that. And then we'll let you just kind of, yeah, you should be able to share your screen.
Sounds good. Well, hi everybody. I've been looking on Dawn's stories and I'm super jelly of your retreat. I wish I was there in person with you. It looks amazing.
Next time.
Next time is right. I better be there. Um
I went to yours, so you should be at mine.
I I know. I will make it to a future one for sure. I just want to hang out with you ladies. I love going to retreats. And there's just something so powerful about being in a room, especially with other women, like in intimate settings, and you're all just like in the same business, different places within it. And real estate can feel so lonely. And it's things like this that you're at that personally have touched my life, changed the game for me. And so I hope you guys are having an amazing time. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and dive in. Can everyone see my slide deck?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So I titled this presentation Iconic Iconic Branding. Mostly it's a play on words because we're going to talk about AI today, but I'm a huge believer in branding. And so I'll tell you a little bit about myself briefly because no one wants to go to a presentation that is a biography. Um, but just so you have a little bit of background on me, I am a real estate branding strategist. I have a podcast called Above Asking, and it's really about redefining how modern agents grow. We have different types of conversations around growth. I just launched this podcast. I'm very excited about it, and to bring that voice mostly in brand growth. And I also help what I coined the phrase creator agents elevate their brand. We leverage with content for visibility, increasing revenue, and really having strategic growth with clarity. I think a lot of people, when it comes to content marketing and branding, there is a huge lack of clarity, and there's a lot of noise in our industry, and it can be really difficult to stand out. And so, we're going to talk a little bit about that today and how to use AI to help you out. I am, as Dawn said, I'm also an Inman contributor and I write about brand strategy and content marketing for Inman. And I really just like my core belief is I believe the future of real estate belongs to agents who treat their brand like a business and their business like a brand. So let's get into it. All right. First, I want to talk about why most real estate brands, and I'm going to call you guys brands because every single one of you in the room is a personal brand. And I'm going to take a whack at why you might feel stuck when it comes to your content strategy or your branding. A lot of the times when we're posting on social media, it's very reactive. Something comes up, something changes in the market, interest rates increase or drop, something major happens in the news, the NAR commission, like we're all just like posting as stuff comes up, and we're not really thinking about what is our brand all about and how do we consistently speak to that. And really, once you dial that in, it actually makes content pretty effortless. How many of you in the room, by just like a show of hands, and you all know, kind of look like really little ants to me in the screen, but just give me a show of hands. Do you struggle with what to post about in your social media marketing? Everybody. And that's usually why, because we're not putting a strategy behind it. And when you narrow down your brand, it makes it so easy. It's kind of like when you're talking about real estate with somebody, you know so much about the business that anybody could ask you anything and you could talk about it all day long. But when it comes to actually talking about ourselves, which is the key part of our personal brand, we tend to struggle talking about ourselves, right? The other reason agents get stuck with branding is they have a lot of generic messaging, and it's not their fault. It's because we're in this industry where there's just a lot of noise. Like I said, like you're seeing people post about the same stuff, and you're like, "Oh, that's a great idea. I love that she did that. I'm gonna borrow that idea." And there's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong with it is when you're not taking it and putting your personal spin on it and having your brand position behind everything that you post. So it comes across as more flat, more generic, and more of the same of what everyone else is saying. The other reason they get stuck is there's no real brand attachment. And what I mean by this is people love to follow other people, and I want you to think about people you follow on social media. And I live in the Instagram world mostly, so this applies to anything, but I really love Instagram as my key platform, and that's what I teach on the most. um, when you are following people and your favorite creators, there is an attachment to that brand. There is a reason their content is bingeable. And unpopular opinion, but it's true. Nobody is following you because they want to see the latest listings. They're just not. There's so many like so many spaces they can go to. They can scroll Zillow. They can connect with you and get set up on a feed. There's so many ways that people get access to that kind of stuff. It's not about showing your listings or showing what you just sold. Really, it's about brand equity and why people want to keep watching you. So attention gets you likes, and that's great. But having a brand actually creates loyalty and a reason for people to keep consuming your content. So branding really is your entire business plan. I'm just gonna say that. I'm a huge proponent of business planning, knowing your numbers, creating KPIs and projections and all those things. They're all important. I'm not saying it's not, but if they aren't defined by a brand, you're gonna have a lot harder time achieving those things. And so between your transactions, your brand is actually your most valuable asset. And that's how you really build a market-proof business. When you rely on your brand to keep you stable or grow, whichever season you're in, you don't have to worry about the market shifts and what's going on. There's a lot of crazy news right now about pricing, about, there's even like mixed things I'm reading about, increase of applications, lowest home sales. Like it's all over the place, and you don't need to get stuck in that minutia of what exactly is happening right now when you build a brand, because there's always somebody that needs to buy or sell real estate at any given time, and you get to capture that market share by being a brand authority. And I'm a huge believer that people follow your vibe. They follow you. They follow what you're all about, not your listings, right? So I want to talk about ChatGPT next. This is honestly the most simple, most accessible, most popularly used AI tool. And I'm going to guess that every single one of you in the room is currently using ChatGPT. Raise your hand if that's true. Everybody. It is so insane to me. I can pinpoint so quickly when I read content that's written by ChatGPT. And it's not just in like your captions or anything. These are big agencies now, big brands that I am seeing use ChatGPT. I even saw a realtor.com post the other day where I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so clearly ChatGPT. They did not take out the generic emojis, the M dashes, all these things that are like clear indicators. And I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but there are patterns in the writing style of ChatGPT that you can really pick out if you're paying attention, and especially if you use it a lot, it is so obvious. So we're going to talk about how not to sound like that. I want to preface this right now that we are not going for like generic prompts on ChatGPT. We're going to actually dig deeper and teach you how to use it to really be your full branding agency inside your pocket. So it's not just a copywriter, not just something to use for content, but how can we use this to really build your voice, define your style, and really save hours without outsourcing this or having a creative director, or any of those things that like a real marketing agency would have. And you can really craft your brand identity. And once you've narrowed that down, I promise you, your content strategy is going to become so simple, and you're always going to know what to talk about because you're defined by something. So this is where most agents go wrong with AI. We kind of talked about this a little bit in terms of being able to identify when someone's using AI, but this is why it happens. So oftentimes agents are using super lazy prompts like just write 5 real estate posts for a buyer or seller in today's market, like that generic. And then they copy paste the output that they get without editing it at all. That's where you start to see the same patterns in the output voice. You start to see the same writing style. And there's just very clear indicators that people are using ChatGPT as a copy paste strategy rather than a tool. They're also not, this says forgetting their brand vibe and positioning. I'm going to go ahead and say that 95% of people aren't even using their brand vibe or their positioning while they're using ChatGPT to make content. So AI really should amplify you, not replace you. And I know so many people are like, just stick that in ChatGPT, it'll put it out for you. That's great. It's definitely a time-saving tool, but I like to look at it as more of a strategy tool that helps me be better, because I don't know about you, I'm starting to get bored now when I scroll my feed and I can tell that everything is written by AI. We've lost the personality, and that's coming. I don't know if you guys have noticed it, but that is absolutely coming. I think you are going to see so many people start to tune out of social media and actually sitting there and reading the captions because they know it didn't come from that person. So this is the perfect time to have this discussion today, because I promise that's coming. That's the future. People are going to start to get bored and they're going to gravitate towards real voices. And that's what we're going to do today. So before we get started, I want you to ask yourself some personal questions and let these sit with you for a little bit. Do you actually know your brand? Could somebody recognize your posts without seeing your name? And what I mean is the visuals, the aesthetic, the tone, the voice. Could somebody recognize it's you without seeing your username on the post? Answer that question for yourself. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, we're a little mixed. Would they describe your energy in the way you want? So if you ask someone to describe you, do you think that they are getting all of you, like your essence, your energy, who you are, out of your content? Or do you feel like you are maybe stuck in the phase of, I don't know what to post, I'm just putting content out there because I know I need to be? What's your temperature on that?
I feel like I'm starting to.
Okay.
I really just found my brand this year.
That's amazing. And there's no like right or wrong or you're behind or anything in this. It's just this is a self-evaluation, and I love this like intimate group setting, because instead of me just sitting here presenting to you the whole time, we can actually talk about this. So please feel free to just like shout out if you want to answer any of these things, and we can talk through them. Um, and then I want you to ask yourself, are you just showing up by showing that you're selling homes? Or are you actually using your platform as a space to sell a lifestyle and really show an identity? Like, are you just posting education and home sales, or are you actually taking it one step further and showing the lifestyle that people will have working with you, or what your lifestyle is all about, what your identity is, what you bring to the sale, what it's like to work with you. Are you giving that kind of insight right now in your content? Nobody?
No.
Okay. If not, this is where ChatGPT can help you start. How to develop your brand using ChatGPT. So we can use ChatGPT to discover our core brand words, which we're going to use a lot as we continue using it. Once we've identified our brand words, we can define who exactly our audience is and our tone. So I love this phrase that when you try to speak to everyone, sometimes you speak to no one. And I think agents oftentimes struggle with this because most of us want the commission. We want the paycheck. So if somebody comes to us that's outside of our normal type of deal, or normal client we help, most of the time we're still going to say yes, right? And we don't want anyone to like fall through the cracks. So we're hesitant to like commit to a specific audience. And I'm not going to say niche down. That's a very popular term in the branding and marketing world. And I'm sure you guys have all heard it before. I think niching is important, but I take the approach of like having like a core niche and then expanding it a little bit so that you are approachable to more people and you're not just about one thing, but you definitely are known for something. So an example starter prompt that we would use with ChatGPT is help me uncover my personal brand identity by asking 10 questions about my values, my voice, and my ideal client. So oftentimes when we talk about, and I've been doing branding classes for like 4 years, branding and marketing, and the one of the biggest phrases we talk about is who is your ideal client? And most of the time people will say, oh, I love to work with sellers. I want listings, or I love to work with first-time buyers. I really love to help them out and educate them, or I love to work with move-up buyers. And it kind of just stops there. But what if you like had even further insight with like if you were to ask yourself like and look back at all the past clients you've served, what are these people all about? What is their common denominator? What stage of life are they in? What type of lifestyle are they seeking? How do we relate? Do we relate by age or life stage? Or maybe I work with a lot of women, or I work with a lot of business owners. Like really dialing that in. Like, what are the values of you? What are the values of those clients? What is your voice to those clients? Like, what authority do you want to have? And I like to think of this more in terms of like thought leadership. Every person who is in thought leadership really stands for something. And I'm going to just shout out a big one that everybody knows and loves, Mel Robbins. She really stands for something, and you know it's her voice. And I don't mean her actual voice, but like when she's writing something, it's so clearly always from her perspective. So what is your voice? And how does your ideal client connect with that? That's what this prompt is going to help us identify. And don't worry, you'll get a lot of this all if you want to revisit the prompts later, I have more for you at the end, but you can screenshot any of this and I'm happy to share the slide deck as well with Dawn. So here's just some smart prompts for brand identity building. I call these power prompts. Let me move this. I can see. I can't see. Okay. Create a brand tone guide for a whatever city you're in, real estate agent who is, I want you to think, those core words that we developed before, who's elevated, who's magnetic, who's really community centered, include voice examples. Now, once you have that output, describe what my brand would feel like if it were a place, if it were a song, if it were a person. The reason that we want to know this is because once we've got a few key identifiers in our head or we're using it with ChatGPT, it's always going to sound consistent and cohesive. And it's going to be easy for us when we're talking about our brand, when we're writing, when we're thinking about what content to create. It always feels a certain way. And so based on whatever tone, suggest 3 core messaging pillars and sample phrases. Another thing that I like to do is to share actual content I've written. And for some of us, We may have to go back in time a little bit to find that voice again. But in this world where we have all this generic content surfacing, this is a really great practice so that you can get back to who you actually are in your writing. And I like to use ChatGPT a lot for like ideas, for formatting, for editing. But when I write, like for example, when I write for Inman, I am writing because I actually love to write from my point of view and I want to share my own personal voice. Not everybody is a writer, but everybody wants to be themselves and have their own personal voice. And this is how you do that back to using AI. So here are some messaging and thought leadership prompts. Real authority comes from real beliefs. So list 5 core beliefs about real estate that I can share as content to build brand authority. I want you to think about when you think about your core beliefs, this is like your point of view. This is how you stand for something. Like if you are someone who believes in long-term wealth with real estate, like building a portfolio and teaching people how to do that, that's a core belief. Like I want you to think about like what hill you would die on with a specific real estate belief. And that might sound dramatic, but this is what's actually really going to pull out that perspective in every single thing that you write or you post. And then you want to ask it from there, what 3 content ideas highlighting why I believe in this belief matters most to my client. This is a connection point. This is how you make sure that your content is more likely to convert because you're actually making sure that it identifies with who you think you're identifying with. You could be completely missing people in your content without even realizing it. So I love to make sure that my thoughts, my ideas, or what I believe I'm saying actually connects back to who I'm reaching. So I like to use it almost as like a feedback simulator to ask me like, hey, I have this thought, I'm thinking this about this belief, and I want to make sure, does this land with this client? Does this speak to their pain points? Does it solve their problem? Can they relate to me in this way? And it helps give me that feedback to solidify and higher convert my message. Then suggest ways to weave personal values into market education posts without sounding salesy. This is one of my favorite prompts because oftentimes we're delivering a market update and we're sharing a lot of what's happening in the numbers. Very rarely are people connecting it back to what it actually means for someone. And this is where we talk about knowing your audience because sure, you can manipulate data or numbers. People do it all the time to make sense for anybody, but you're not serving people by giving like a blanket market update. The way that you serve people and entice them to make moves, and I don't mean that in a sales way, the moves have to make sense for them, but the way that you kind of make the light bulb go up with someone and think, oh, maybe now's my time, is by actually relating what's happening and giving that education directly to that person's scenario. So this is a really good way, like if we weave in our beliefs, our core values, and what our ideal clients' core values are and what they're looking to achieve into creating a market education post, it's going to land so much better. And I promise you, you're going to start to get people saying like, I loved what you said about that. I was really scared to enter the market right now with rates, but this makes sense to me. I'd like to explore this conversation. You're going to get so many more people raising their hands like that because right now all they're hearing is the general stuff that all agents are saying because they read it on Keeping Current Matters or they read this article on Inman or they read this NAR statistic and they're all going to be talking about that in the generalized point of view where you can actually speak directly to the people you serve. Then you can really use it for content planning from there. So I love to create flexible content calendars. I don't rigidly create content, and some people work differently in that regard. Like some people really need structure and be told exactly what to post about, and they need that framework. I need a framework to make sure that I'm sticking to what I'm trying to say and make sure like I'm following a good strategy, but I'm also a creative. So I like to leave room for white space to like really create when something pops into my head and feel like it fits. So I call it flexible content calendars. So you can ask it, create a 30-day flexible calendar, mixing market insights from my point of view or my core beliefs, personal storytelling, again, about my core beliefs and in my brand voice, using brand positioning and lifestyle content. You're going to get the best content calendar. I promise you, it's going to feel so dialed and personalized. And that's how you're really going to stand out visually and with your voice on the feed when people are following multiple other agents or they're hearing the same regurgitated stuff. This is exactly how you stand out. And the way that you create the calendar is by doing the work first of really identifying your brand position and your voice and the identity. Then you can ask it to suggest weekly themes for your real estate brand that are maybe bold or approachable or editorial, whatever your style is. So you can get really nitty gritty with this. You don't have to follow like these exact prompts. I love to just like free conversate with ChatGPT. It's really actually fun. And I don't know if you guys saw that article that came out that they've spent millions of dollars in energy just for people saying please and thank you. I am that person costing OpenAI money. So here's an example of like a flexible weekly content plan. I have been doing this for years. I love to have certain types of content on the same day. Number one, it helps you always remember what you're talking about, and you never have to wonder what to post about, even if you don't have all the exact ideas laid out. Also, it kind of teaches people what to expect from you. You may say like that looks kind of rigid, but people aren't paying attention to the fact that like, oh, it's Tuesday, you know, she's always doing this on Tuesdays. But instead, they might always start to see a pattern that, wow, she's like really consistent in sharing the market insights. I'm going to go back and look at the last one on the feed. So there's a lot of benefits to this approach. And here are just some examples like Mondays, having a signature series. I'm a huge fan of a signature series. So when I first started my Instagram in real estate back in 2019, where most people were posting like just solds or new listings. It was very much like just a photo feed. There were no reels yet or anything like that. There was a video feature and going live. So I used to go live every Wednesday with the real estate wine down. I had a glass of wine. I would talk about different things, and that was my signature series. And I had people like tell me around town, like, oh my gosh, I've seen your wind down series. Like I became known for it very quickly. And there's so many different ways to do this now. You don't need to go live, but you can have like a signature reel series or a signature carousel where you talk about something. You can make it a local thing. You can make it educational. There's so many different approaches, but I love having a signature series because that's kind of how you create bingeable content. Think of it like your favorite Netflix show that you can't wait to watch again or watch the next episode of. I love the show You. It came out, I think it came out like yesterday, or I discovered it yesterday. I watched 5 freaking episodes last night and could not go to bed because it's bingeable to me. So think about what could be bingeable to your audience and turn it into a signature series. Then you can do things like market insights. And then I'd love to leave a day for like open white space, maybe even 2 to 3 days. Like if you're not someone who wants to post every day or you want the weekends off, but maybe something comes up and it sparks. Maybe you're out at like a new local restaurant and you want to feature it. Like that's what's great about having that open space. And don't give yourself pressure to post, but if the creativity is there, you can do it. You can also ask ChatGPT and say, hey, I've got an open posting day, knowing my weekly content plan, knowing my brand voice and what I talk about. What's a creative idea I could do today for a reel? So you can use it in that way too. Love to do authority storytelling. This is where you talk about your clients' actual stories and how you created wins for them versus saying just sold. It's like the story behind the for sale sign. And then I love to include lifestyle or behind the scenes. This is what keeps people interested in following you. No one wants to hear about real estate 24/7, but they would love to get to know you or see maybe behind your life or the lifestyle in your area. So that's really fun. I love to do it on Fridays because it's a great way to also promote like a local business that might also be a collaborator on a post and give you more exposure going into the weekend. So I want to put this to the test in real time. I want to go through an exercise and show you guys just a little bit about how this works. Would anybody like to volunteer to what?
Morgan would love to volunteer.
Morgan?
Morgan, definitely Morgan.
Okay, cool. So Morgan, I'm gonna ask some questions. I'm just gonna take some notes here. And we'll work through this together. And I pulled up ChatGPT and I logged out, so it's not gonna know me. It's gonna have a completely clean slate. So if your ideal client described you in 3 words, what would you want them to say?
Fun, personable, and knowledgeable. I mean, don't you want to be knowledgeable?
Yes.
I mean, that would be important to me if I was.
Communicative.
What's something more about you?
He's beautiful.
Aw, y'all.
Giant blue eyes.
Yeah. I thought you were gonna say something else.
You mean like something she likes to do or?
Oh, just like, what would you want someone to say about you?
You're very caring.
Yeah, I'm caring, very like, and I'm very empathetic.
Okay. And then how do you want people to feel after they interact with your brand? Like after they come across you or they work with you?
I'm positive. Confident. Oh, I love that.
That too.
Yes. You're like, I'll just. I'm breathing for Morgan.
Happy.
Happy.
Fulfilled.
Ooh, yes. I used to talk to my boyfriends in the past.
Okay. And then if you could really think about this, what vibe or energy like really sets you apart from other agents in your market?
Yeah, high energy.
What was that?
High energy.
High energy?
Isn't that what she says?
What was your question? I think we did it here.
Oh, sorry. There's a little bit of an echo in your room, so some things are hard for me to hear. I said, what vibe or energy sets you apart from other agents in your market?
You do not know a stranger.
Yeah, my husband always says like I've never met a stranger.
That's awesome. Okay.
Like once you talk to somebody, I've really I ask really good open-ended questions, so they feel like family and friends, like we've known each other for years.
Very curious.
Oh
She's
yeah,
curious.
curious. Open-ended, yeah.
Like open to telling.
No, like open-ended questions, like
Yeah.
you know what that means. Oh, sorry.
Okay. So,
Playful.
hmm?
Playful.
Yeah, I'm gonna put this prompt in. I'm just writing down what you told me.
Is she gonna send us these questions?
What's your city or your market that you serve?
San Antonio.
These questions?
I mean, do you want a specific? Because I do San Antonio, New Braunfels, and Canyon Lake.
That's okay. Hold on. I'm just writing down what you said. Let's see. People feel, I put positive, confident, happy, and fulfilled. And I'm going to show you guys this in a sec. Sorry, I had to type it all out. Apart from other agents in my market is that
Does anyone remember the name of the movie that came out like probably 20 years ago where everybody was like a robot walking around and
And they were all in their houses
And they were all just
yeah,
dumb.
I hated that.
what was that movie
I don't
called
know, it
though?
was trash.
It sounds scary.
It's very scary.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that, I mean, I love AI for us, but my biggest fear is like everybody's gonna turn into like robots.
The thing is, we don't have like real AI yet. And I could speak to this because my husband has worked in AI since it was ever before it was ever called that in 2013. And what they really are large language models. They're not actually real self-thinking AI. We're not quite there yet. So you don't have to be scared right now about what is going on with it today. But yeah, it can definitely be scary in the future. How people are using language models, though, can be scary. I just saw a tech company of some kids in a college that just got 5.3 million in seed funding for creating an AI program for cheating, like cheating on job interviews, like having like a hidden window on your computer, like when you take tests or you do Zoom calls or things like that. Like it was wild to me that like people wanted to invest in like a criminal activity. So there's definitely stuff like that going on. So anyway, back to the prompt. So I put act as a brand strategist based on these traits. We put in your traits that you gave me. Define a brand tone, 3 core messaging pillars, and sample taglines for a modern real estate agent in San Antonio, Texas. People feel positive, confident, happy, fulfilled. When they encounter me. And my vibe that sets me apart from other agents in my market is that people say I've never met a stranger. I'm a super communicator, engaging and connective. So let's see. So it says your brand tone, it blends the charm of a local friend with the savvy of a market expert. It's confident but casual, informative yet approachable. You're the kind of person that people want to grab coffee with and trust their biggest financial decision. You radiate energy, empathy, and connection, making the real estate experience feel exciting and human, not transactional. So right off the bat, I already have like a content idea for you. Like if it feels like grabbing a cup of coffee with a friend working with you, I would make a cup of coffee at a coffee shop or with a client and like film B-roll of that. Like I would do that all day long because the more that you show something like signature about your brand, it's going to instill in people's minds that that's who you are. That's what it feels like to work with you. And it's just kind of like media studies. Like there's a statistic that back in the day, you used to only need to see a commercial 6 times before someone would become a consumer. Now that's much higher because we are faced with short form messaging all day long. It's anywhere from like 8 to 12 times. So if you can imagine every time like that cup of coffee with a friend vibe shows up in your feed, how that's just going to like instill with people, that's your differentiator in your vibe. And that's what we mean by vibe, right? So your core messaging pillars, relationships first, always. Local know-how meets heart, communication that clicks. And then it gave you some sample taglines like more than a realtor, your people. Let's find your happy place together, where expertise feels like friendship. Some of these, can get cheesy, and you can then prompt back and be like, these sound a little too cheesy. Remember, like, my professional but fun tone. Like you can really play with this. But do you see how much insight this already gave into how you could show up with your content, like in these messaging pillars? So when you go to ask ChatGPT to create content, you can say, here are my core messaging pillars. Let's create a content calendar around this. Is that helpful?
Do that and see what it's.
Yes, what?
I'm gonna do a content calendar based on that.
Well, we're going to keep going. We're on step 2 now. Okay, so I'm going to ask you more questions, Morgan. What is a hill that you would die on about real estate?
What is a hill?
Like a cause or your like belief.
What is your
Like-
most important belief that you would argue with anybody against if they said the opposite of your belief?
Anytime's a good time to buy or sell real estate.
Yes.
Hmm.
Huh?
It's always a good time.
It's always a good time to buy or sell real estate.
That's a great one.
Always a good time to have.
I don't know where I'm coming up with this shit at, but,
I said it.
oh, you said that? No, I said it.
Don't have a habit of doing that.
So what's a big belief that you have about the home buying or selling process that most agents don't talk about?
I'm very knowledgeable in the home buying.
But what's a belief? Like, what's a belief around that?
Like it's the best type of investment for a buyer.
Oh, yeah, that your house is your biggest investment. Your house.
That
is-
most agents don't talk about.
Your
What's
house
something good
is your
about you?
home. Yes, I love all of those.
We gotta pick one.
What do you guys think? Your house is your home or your house is your biggest investment?
Well, that's what most agents say.
Yeah, that's.
What do most agents, what do you think that you don't hear from other agents?
They don't,
Yeah, what's something you would say to someone like if you were competing with three other agents in a like a belief or a philosophy about like if you were, up against other agents to get hired, what is like a belief or philosophy of yours about the process that makes you stand out? Like for me, it would be that like great marketing actually matters to the sales price. And it's not just about throwing up a sign in the yard or putting it on the MLS. That's like a core belief that I speak to my marketing process all day long with a client.
That's where I would go into ChatGPT and ask. I'd be like, hold on.
See, this is where it's got to come from the heart. It's got to come from you. So that's what this exercise is. Like we're really trying to pull you out of it and utilize the AI as a tool. Because if you just go to ChatGPT and ask it, so is someone else, and then you're going to have the same generic output that they gave someone else.
what's important when you have a listing that you're doing for your clients?
Why should I list with you, Morgan?
What do you do that's,
Do you network? Do you have a strong team that can help you?
I mean, I network, but I network like not anything different than everybody here. I don't have a team.
But why should I list with you?
You're not selling us on hiring you, Morgan.
Because I'm gonna interview Dawn too, so why
You've
should I
been in
go
the
with
real
you
estate
over her?
business for over 20 years.
Yeah, but that's not like,
So your belief is that experience matters.
there you go, that's it, I told you, Alyssa, that was it.
Oh, I didn't hear you say that. I can't hear you guys that well.
No, that's why I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
experience matters.
So now we're going to put in these beliefs.
Another thing about you too, Morgan, is that you have investment properties, seeing how a house is built. and
Yeah,
it's important,
built,
you know.
like
yeah, you have an eye for
500
detail.
I feel like,
You had
That's all the good thing.
You have an eye for details, you pay attention to.
Oh,
details.
yeah,
Psychology on the other end, you
I think-
understand psychology coming from like the other people's perspective, that you
Yes.
can relay that to your people to help them understand, like, this is probably what they're thinking. And
Yes.
just perspective of where you're at, like, look,
And what's important to
And
buyers
depending
and
on your
sellers.
buyer too, you
Well,
have.
and I feel like there's something to be said about you, like home is where the heart is, but when you make your home an investment also, you get the full package, like
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Okay, so now we're putting in this prompt using the brand tone that you developed. Create 3 post ideas that position me as a thought leader by highlighting these beliefs. It's always a great time to buy or sell real estate, and experience matters in who you hire. This is how you're going to get depth in your content, and you're really going to stand out this way. So market timing versus life timing. You can make this a reel or a carousel. The tone is empathetic, it's confident, it's real talk, like you're talking to a friend. Is it the right time to buy or sell? The truth, the perfect time is when it's right for you. Life moves. Jobs, families grow, priorities shift. Real estate is the tool that helps you move forward. I've helped clients win in every kind of market because experience isn't about timing the market, it's about knowing it. So let's talk about where you are now and where you want to go. Thinking about a move in San Antonio? Let's chat, no pressure, just real talk. See how effortless that is? Like, does that sound like you? Like something that you would say?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. And so see how that's so personal versus like a generic, like anytime's a great time to buy type post. Why experience isn't just a bonus, it's a game changer. Um, you don't want your biggest investment in beginners' hands. So that's a market differentiator right there. That's like a really big, bold statement, right? So you're positioning yourself outside of the pool of agents with your experience. You're calling out like you don't want your biggest investment in beginners' hands. That's a really that's like a triggering statement, I feel like, to a lot of people. I've navigated negotiations, won bidding wars, helped people thrive in tricky markets, not just survive. Experience isn't about bragging rights, it's about anticipating problems before they happen, advocating hard when it counts, and making sure you feel heard every step of the way. So it's bringing in that knowledge, that expertise, but you're tying it back in and making it about them by bringing in like that compassion, that care, that empathy that you have. So see how personal that is? Like if you're hiring a real estate agent, ask, how will your experience help me win? Got questions? I've got real answers because you're real. You're like talking to your friends, right? San Antonio Market Mythbusters. So this is where you can, there again, go back into that myth. Now is a bad time to buy. Myth, you should wait. Myth, all agents are the same. These are very generalized myths, but like your answers don't have to be, right? You can then go back and tailor them to you. So that's how you come up with like really juicy content ideas that stand out from what everyone else is posting. And then we'll go into step 3. So this is how you're going to actually turn this into a calendar. So how many times a week realistically would you like to be posting if you had the right support, like you knew what to post about? What's doable for you?
Space. Or is
What's
that,
that?
what were you thinking?
I can't hear you. What did you say?
4?
4?
Yes.
Okay. And then like what types of content feel most natural to you? Is it like reels, carousels? Do you like sharing education? Do you like telling stories? Do you like showing your personal life, or do you keep that more private? Like tell me about
I'm
like
big on
what
showing, my personal life. I'm getting better at reels.
okay.
And I'm really good at like wanting to help like small town businesses. So I'm like, if it's something really great, I like to post about it and share my experience with it.
Okay. And when it comes to real estate content, do you tend to like to tell stories about your clients and their experiences, or do you like to educate people about like tips and tricks or what's happening in the market, how to be strategic? Like, what do you typically post when it comes to like real estate talk?
I'm more about like showing features and benefits.
Features of homes?
Yeah, and how it benefits them.
So now we're going to do this. This is the last one, I promise. And I'm going to give you guys a guide that you can do things like this yourself. But I just wanted to do it in real time because I think it's fun to be a little bit more interactive.
Laura wants to go next.
Do we have time? It's up to you guys. We could do it again, but
I knew she would say that.
okay. So now we're saying based on the brand tone and the core pillars, create a 2-week flexible content calendar for an agent who wants to post 4 times a week, blending personal life, reels, promoting small town businesses, showing features of homes, and how it benefits prospective buyers. Okay. It's even telling us, love it. This kind of mix is gold for keeping your content warm, engaging, and totally you. We nailed it. That's exactly what we're trying to do. So week 1, you have a reel. Why now is a good time? Why now is a good time to buy or sell? You could do a reel voiceover over B-roll or a talking head. And the message is life doesn't wait on the market and neither should you. That's like your hook, right? Uh, Personal life, coffee and contracts. There again, that having coffee with a friend surfaces. So like if you had a signature series, you could literally call it like coffee and contracts and you're sitting there with your cup of coffee. If you want to tie it into highlighting like your favorite local coffee shop, it's something that becomes like recognizable for you. And I think that would be like just such an amazing signature series idea. Friday home feature highlight. This home as the pantry dreams are made of. Sunday local business spotlight. Sunday sweets in San Antonio. So whatever, like you're an ice cream shop or whatever it is. So it really mixes it up. 3 agents your agent should be doing for you that I do every time. The people behind the closings, so you could talk about like those people that turn into friends, those clients that turn into friends, since it sounds like that's something that happens to you. Home buyer tip, 4 features that add instant daily joy to your life because you're a happy person and that's what people say about you, right? Like that's a connection point and you probably want to work with other happy people. um, Most of us do, right? And then local vibe check, why I love living in your part of San Antonio. And that's where you can talk about a neighborhood or there again, highlight a business. So do you see how these are very interesting and they're not generic, they're not the same, they're tailored to you. So your content is really going to have a voice. It's going to have a brand position and it's going to sound and feel like you and connect so much deeper. So you can kind of like keep playing around with these and keep redoing them. You can say turn this into a spreadsheet with columns for ideas. Turn all of these post ideas into captions with SEO for my area to target buyers or sellers, depending on the post focus in San Antonio. Like you can just get so dialed with this now. Now it's your assistant. So now you have your voice. You have it sounding like you. You have a message that sounds like yours. And then now you can use it as your time-saving assistant to develop that calendar. So now you can have it, you can tell it to go into Excel and you could download it as well. But now you have this all dialed in. And then this is the key part that this is the part that can't really be automated. You need to go through and actually make sure you're not having like the cheesy repetitive emojis. Like before I would post this, every time I would post, I would open up ChatGPT, I would take this in and I would say, let's edit this to sound more human in my brand voice. Remove generic emojis or AI language that looks like you wrote this. Make it sound like me. And this isn't like a professional, like super dial prompt. I'm just talking to it, right? So let's see what it comes up with.
Totally get you, girl.
Is now a good time to buy or sell in San Antonio? Honestly, the market matters, but your life matters more. If something's shifting, whether it's a new job, growing family, a fresh start, it might be the right time for you. And that's what I help people figure out every day. Timing the market is one thing, but having the right guide, that's everything. Let's talk through your options, no pressure. Does that sound like AI wrote that, or does it sound like you're having a conversation over coffee with a friend?
Yeah, me, yeah.
Wow.
Right? So is everybody seeing kind of like the difference now of how to use this to be more personal and the importance of really dialing in your brand before you just go out there and start saying, make me posts? Was this helpful?
Yeah, can you print that for me?
Yeah. But I want you to do the exercise. That's the important part.
You gotta make it exercise.
So I'm going to throw up this QR code. I made a special guide just for you with a prompt kit. So you guys can scan this, you can download it, you could do all these things yourself. I would say I like to visit content planning. I push out a lot of content, right? Like I actually am a content creator. So I'm doing this on a weekly basis. Brett, mommy's in the class right now. You can wait till I'm done. I'll be done in 5 minutes. No, you cannot have candy. Thank you. I create content all the time. So I'm doing this on a weekly basis. For you, I would recommend maybe doing this bi-weekly or once a month. I don't love mapping out 30 days at a time. I think it's a lot to stick to and things change. So I like to give myself, a week or 2 weeks, but whatever helps you be consistent. And I would just keep revisiting this process every time you create. And when you log in with ChatGPT or using it on your ChatGPT, you can actually create memory. You can also sign up for Pro and have, access to kind of more memory, more features, and it will start to just automatically learn. So you don't need to prompt as much. It'll just start to know you super well. So even if you think your ChatGPT knows you right now, I would recommend going through these exercises that are in this guide, building the memory, and I think you're going to get a lot better content that feels like you and it really stands out in your market.
Amazing. Very cool. Thank you.
Yeah, and if you guys want, I share tips about branding and marketing all the time. You can follow me on Instagram. My name is the Alyssa Stalker on Instagram. I'm not that into myself, just Alyssa Stalker was taken.
What's your last name?
How do you spell it, your last name?
It's up there.
Stalker, Stalker, like a night stalker. It's Scottish. It means deer hunter.
Can you go to the page before this real quick?
Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't do it on the computer like I wanted to.
And I'll send this all to Dawn. So like if you need her to email it, I'm happy to share the slide deck and then the link to the kit to download it.
Yeah, I'm gonna break all of the whole day down into videos, you guys, and put all
I
the.
didn't even check my own link to make sure it works.
in.
Yep, there it is. Yeah.
Great job.
Yay!
Thank you.
I honestly hate talking for an hour. I feel like it gets so boring. So I hope that it was informative and you guys got some good nuggets.
Has it been an hour?
Yeah.
Wow. This day flew by to me.
That's so good.
Awesome. Well, it was nice to meet y'all. I hope you have a great retreat and thank you so much for having me. And thank you, Dawn.
Thank you so much, girl. Appreciate you always.
Take care. Have fun.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, y'all, we're almost done. We have